Hey you guys, it's C Simone and I'm back with another video. Today's video is going to be about why I have been MIA and what's been going on in my life, especially when it comes to wedding planning. So if you are interested in hearing all about that, please keep watching. Well, you guys, I have been just so busy these last couple of months. Basically, I have had to rush through a lot of the last details of my wedding for planning because as you all know, we are still in a pandemic, and when the pandemic first hit, it shut everything down, and I just really wasn't able to do anything. I had already gotten a lot of things done prior to the pandemic, so I had already had my caterer, I had already had my coordinator, I already had my venue. And I think what else? I had my bartender. I had a lot of the big things, photographer, stuff like that. But there were still a lot of little things that I didn't have and that I hadn't figured out. And I had to just sit and wait because, like most of you know, a lot of people ended up canceling their weddings or postponing their weddings. My wedding was not until October either way. I didn't have to change my dates or anything. I'm grateful for that because I do know that that's a major headache, and I feel so bad for those brides that had to reschedule or had to cancel completely because it's annoying, to say the least, honestly. But nevertheless, to get to the point, I really was just kind of overwhelmed because I didn't get to do a lot of the things that, typical brides get to do prior to their wedding. So, I didn't get to send out save the dates because when I would have sent out save the dates, it would have been around May or June. And around that time, we were on lockdown, and a lot of people were too afraid to even take any chances. They were just like, "Oh, I don't know if you're going to be able to do this or do that." It just became. I'm sorry, y'all. This is really bothering me. If it creeps back down, just creep back down. But anyways, it just became a headache. I was just like, these photographers either are too scared to take the chance, or they're not sure where we can be in the city from where we can't be in the city because of the lockdown. So I just said, forget it. Y'all ain't getting no save the dates. And I have to yawn. Yeah, I think I have a yawning problem, low key. I yawn all the time, and I don't even have to be tired necessarily. I just be yawning. Moving right along. So I didn't get to send out save the dates. I didn't get to figure out a lot of little things like my florist. I knew who I was going with, but I was not able to meet with anybody. I mean, for months you couldn't even communicate with anybody. So let's just fast forward to present day. So we're now in September. So starting in August, I kind of had to jump back on the ball because that's kind of when things were getting a little more normal, quote unquote, and I could really plan things a little bit better. And so, I was trying to figure out where I left off. And it just, y'all, I have just been so overwhelmed. On top of that, my car was broken into. I'll save that for another video. I've just been so overwhelmed with all this wedding stuff because the biggest issue I have right now with wedding planning is how many guests can I have at my wedding? To be honest with y'all, as of today, the venue has not put a cap on how many people I can have per se. Well, let me put it this way. There kind of is, but there kind of isn't a cap. They're kind of loosey goosey with it. But nevertheless, I'm a little nervous because originally my guest list was 125 people. I didn't really feel comfortable having 125 people at my wedding, really because I know that a lot of people in my wedding are elderly. And I was a little nervous because, my grandma, for example, is 101 years old. No lie, she's legit 101 years old. And I was just I don't know if I want, 125 people walking through the door, and putting my grandmother's life potentially at risk or whatever. I mean, obviously, everybody can make their own choices for themselves. But I was not comfortable with that. And so I was like, well, let's try to get the guest list down. Y'all, y'all, when I tell y'all, it has been a nightmare to try to condense down a guest list. Like for my family alone took up like 70 or 80% of the guest list. And I mean, trying to cut people, y'all, it has been the biggest headache trying to decide who should come and who shouldn't. And it sounds bad, but y'all, like, I felt like I had no other choice. Like, I was like, if I, in a perfect world, I would get my guest list down to like 70 or 75 people, which honestly was a reach because, like I said, we had 125 or almost 125 people, and you're trying to take that down to 70 or 75. And it's like, of course, some people gonna get their feelings hurt because they didn't get invited or, you know, whatever the case may be. Like, you know, y'all, just talking about it bothers me greatly. Excuse me. I'm having all kind of issues. But yeah, y'all, that's really why I have just not been on YouTube like that, because this wedding has just been taking over my life. And I know if you're not engaged or you've never been engaged or whatever, if you never planned a wedding, I know you hear people talk about how stressful it is all the time. Like they're just like, oh, it's just so stressful, the wedding planning. And you may not understand why they feel that way. But it's like, in general, when the world is normal and you plan a wedding, it's stressful because you have to make sure everything is good to go. All your vendors, all your bridesmaids, all your groomsmen, the ring bearer, the flower girl, your programs, your menus, you have a lot of these like little things that you have to do. But when you throw a pandemic into the mix, it's just this extra layer of stress that comes from it, and it's really, really annoying. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Like, it's super annoying and it's super stressful. It makes everything 20 times harder. And it's really hard too, where the problem that I have is it seems like most people are still coming. So I know y'all might be like, oh, that's great, people still want to come to your wedding. Not really, because that's making it harder to cut the list down or to even get anybody invited that's on my B list, because I have an A list and a B list. So, you know, obviously the A list is people that are like non-negotiables. They have to be there, like really close family, best friends, stuff like that. B list is people that are kind of more like distant family, but they would probably come if they got invited. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't even been able to invite anybody from my B list yet because I have been so busy trying to figure out my A list and confirm that people are coming. And then let me tell y'all something. I made it so easy for people to RSVP for my wedding. I was just like, I sent out invitations in the mail. In the invitations, it said to RSVP, you send me an email, provide an email address, or you can call me. And quick tip, I used a Google Voice number only because I didn't want like a bunch of random people calling my phone, because some people were like obviously my fiance's family who I didn't really know that well yet. And so I was just like, that might be a little awkward. So anyways, I used the Google Voice number. So if you are out there as a bride and you're planning anything, that's just one random tip I have for y'all, is to do your RSVPs with an email and with a phone number, but make the phone number Google Voice. And I created like a whole separate email that like uses our hashtag. So it wasn't even my personal email. I just created a different Gmail account specifically for RSVPs. I say all that to say, people still don't RSVP. Like, you make it easy on them and they still don't RSVP. And there may be other programs out there that are even easier than the two options I gave to my potential wedding guests. But it's just so annoying, like when people just act like they can't do very simple things. And I don't think people understand, like, the RSVP is not just for my sake. It's really for the whole wedding. Like, I have to know so that I can tell the vendors so that they can adequately prepare for how many people are coming, right? So nevertheless, it's interesting because, like I said, most people that I have talked to, or that the few that have RSVP'd, they want to come. And the coordinator I'm using, she was telling me that the problem that she's been having with her other brides is they want to have the wedding, but their families don't want to come because of COVID. So I was like, I have the complete opposite problem. At this point, everybody and their mama won't come, and I can't get my list narrowed down to save my life. So that is where I'm at, y'all. Like, I know I'm rambling, but I know I had promised you guys an update a while ago when I had made my last wedding planning video. So I just wanted to give you guys a brief update just to let y'all know that I am still moving forward. I am still planning. At this point, it's just the fine details. Like, I'm just figuring out, you know, placements for everybody as far as like a seating chart. I'm figuring out, you know, how many programs I need to order, I'm putting the programs together. I'm just like doing all these little like things, but they take up so much of your time. But it is becoming very, very stressful. And that's really why I had to take a step back from YouTube for a minute, because I was just like, I don't have time for this. Like, I don't. But anyways, that is it, y'all. If I have any more updates in the future regarding this wedding, well, in the very near future, because my wedding is next month. But if I have any more updates, I will definitely make a video for y'all. And if you guys would like to see a video just on some of my tips for wedding planning, just let me know in the comments down below. And I'll be happy to share with y'all some of the things that I learned or figured out or wish I had known prior to like making commitments to certain things within my wedding. But that's it. So again, thanks for watching, you guys. I just want to say thank you because I have a lot of new subscribers and I am so grateful for you guys. I want you to be here. I want you to stay here. I want you to watch my videos. I want us to be able to interact. So drop a comment down below, say whatever you got to say. And yeah, that's it. See y'all in the next one.